This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
If you're a seeker, don't miss the inspiring book Shamanic Awakening, Between the Dark and the Daylight. This remarkable work chronicles shamanic counselor and indigenously trained dream decoder Sandra Cochran's 35 years of experience with diverse wisdom keepers throughout the Americas. Sandy's initiations across the British Isles, Turkey, Greece, and Egypt, combined with her knowledge of symbology, psychology, and myth, influence her dream blog and workshops. Sandy offers private readings, sacred international journeys, a meditative CD, and her book, Shamanic Awakening, to encourage you as you navigate your earth walk and create a deeper connection to yourself. Find this and more at her website, starwalkervisions.com.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome to the X-Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. If you'd like to visit us online, our website is xzoneradiotv.com, and all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And you can always send an email to xzone at xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this first hour of tonight's show is Peter Kling. And the Kling family has a 500-year history of standing for the truth, starting with the Reformation of the Church. Following in his ancestors' footsteps, Peter Kling began his education in the Scriptures before the age of 5 and his education in the sciences by the age of 10. Peter first started seeing future events at the age of 9, had alien contact at the age of 18, has survived attempts on his life 16 times, including an NDE, in which he crossed over and then got sent back. Becoming a scientist, Peter used his education and life experience to unlock the secrets in the Scriptures, which the Church has kept hidden for over 1,000 years. Genesis starts off with interdimensional extraterrestrials and proof of genetic engineering of the human genome. As our sciences developed, more and more secrets of the Scriptures had been revealed by Peter. With the advancements in science over the last 50 years, Peter states, and this is a quote, "We find life everywhere. It would be only logical that life exists across all dimensions into our multiverse beyond our physical 3 dimensions. Indeed, we are not alone, but part of a large cosmic family, and we are facing a paradigm change which will create the next step in human development." Peter's website is www.peterkling.com, and he is the author of Letters to Earth, The Future is Yours. And welcome back to the X-Zone, my friend. How have you been, Peter?
Very good, Rob. What a great introduction. That was fantastic. Thank you.
I only tell the truth like you do.
Well, thank you, too, once again. I've had a most incredible life, and there's only one explanation why I'm still here, and that's only by the hand of God. And it's because of the work that I've done. And it's been a lifelong study. I'm not one of these people that watch 3 YouTube videos and then can tell you what's going on in the world. This started back before the days of the computer and internet, when you needed hard books to go through.
They were kept in something I think called libraries.
Exactly. Exactly. And I accumulated a very nice one myself. And people today, we want everything right now. Yeah. And so we go to YouTube and we get the latest and greatest from whomever. And if it tickles our ears, we listen. And if it doesn't, if it's not appealing, we say, oh, that's a bunch of garbage. Sure. The problem is in today's world, people have become so opinionated and closed mind that they're literally not open to any kind of agreement.
You know what I call YouTube?
Go ahead.
I call it U-boob.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I've always resisted putting videos on YouTube, but I think I just might do a series before I go back off grid. But we can see this closed-mindedness happening. I would have never expected this, but here we are. We've already got. It's no longer a president-elect. It's a president. Yep. And we have people threatening his life, suggesting that others should, someone out there should assassinate the president. I mean, this is illegal. To threaten the president of the United States is a felony.
The world is going. The world is going crazy. It's going to hell in a handbasket, my friend, and that is just one example, one of many examples.
Without a doubt. Yeah. And there's, regardless of where we look, when we go and look, we find chaos all over the planet. And there's several reasons for it. It's been engineered that way. The first thing that certainly has been accomplished is the dumbing down of the general population of the planet, especially Americans. But I can't imagine that Canadians are all that much better.
Actually, no.
Education system.
At least you have a business person as your president. The claim to fame of our prime minister is his degree in poetry. I'll be right back on the other side of this break with my good friend Peter Kling, www.peterkling.com. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern. On the X Zone Broadcast Network and our growing family of broadcast affiliates right around the world, including in Europe, Radio X.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere, Florida. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine such as hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining rooms can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you visit, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic downtown Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
Peter Kling is our special guest for this hour, Exo Nation. www.peterkling.com. Peter, before you and I went on air, we were talking about the Schumann resonance, and you told me something that is quite staggering.
Yeah, actually, man, you know, we've got the perfect storm brewing here. We see all these riots that are going on in the United States over the president.
Right.
And you wonder, what's wrong with these people? You know, we see the whole situation with Islam over in Europe. It hasn't reached that same extent here, but we see what's going on over there, and you wonder, what's wrong with these people? And as I mentioned, everywhere you look, there's chaos.
Yeah.
And there's several reasons for it, but we've got a major situation it's unprecedented, and it's only exacerbating the situation. The Schumann, everything has vibrations. We find this out in string theory, that all structure, all atomic structure is regulated by a vibration of what is called string. Mm-hmm. And it can either be linear or it could be circular, but it's set to vibrate at a certain speed. And so that's what gives everything its substance. Hydrogen and oxygen molecules vibrate at a specific rate, and they love each other, and they make water. If you could change the vibration, you would change the molecule, and hence you would change water. And water is very susceptible to change, by the way, and we're 80% water. But what's happened with the Schumann resonance is that for years, the Schumann resonance was vibrating at 7.83 hertz. When our brain vibrates at 7.83 hertz, we are in what is called theta. We have delta, theta, alpha, and beta. From the lowest upgrade, you keep on increasing the speed of the vibrations per second, then you go into different states. Delta is from you're close to brain dead at delta, mm-hmm. or in a coma, or in an extremely deep sleep. That's from 0 to 4 cycles per second. Theta is from 4 cycles up to 8 cycles per second. Alpha is from 8 up to about 12 cycles per second, and then you go into beta. Alpha is where we like to be. We have deep thoughts in alpha. We meditate in alpha. We also meditate in theta. Mm-hmm. We pray in alpha and theta as well. We make love in alpha. We feel love in alpha. And we feel at peace in alpha. And that's the vibration of the brain, as I said, between 8 and 12 hertz per second. Now, when we go above that, we go into beta. And beta is really where we spend most of our conscious time during the day. At least those people who are working, they tend to work in beta. Unless you have a repetitive job, then you might slip down to alpha. But beta allows us to react quickly. If you're in alpha, you're not going to react too quickly. But if you're in beta, that is where our flight and fight response is, and that's also where fear lives. It's in that beta stage. And the Earth, the Schumann resonance of the Earth 10 days ago went through alpha and is vibrating between 13 and 35 hertz. And this actually, I got caught up in this. This was actually about 2 weeks ago today that this first came all to light. And it's like all of a sudden my whole family became instantly dysfunctional. I mean, literally. Wow. It was a situation happened. Everybody became dysfunctional. I was like, what's going on here? I've never seen this happen before. It was so far beyond my comprehension almost that it was like beyond belief. So I said, look, I thought to myself, there's got to be something that's going on. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you start to do the research and bang, you find out that the Earth is vibrating in beta, which is our fight and flight response. So it immediately pushes us because we're running in sync with the Earth. And that if the Earth is vibrating at a faster rate, it affects every life form on this planet. Not just humans, but it affects animals. It affects fish. It affects insects. It affects trees. It affects plants of all sorts because the Earth is now it's vibrating in a state of fighting or flight. So we don't know exactly what's causing this. It's proposed, and I would certainly believe that this would have an influence on it, is Planet X or the Nibiru event. Because it's not just Earth that's being upset, it's the whole solar system. But this has a direct effect on humans. You know, I don't know a whole lot of humans that live on Mars, Venus, or any of the other planets, but I know a lot that live here. And so what I did is I said, okay, let's try to do a little scientific study here. You know, it's hard to do that when you hold a survey. You try to be as benign as possible. Right. But I went on Facebook. And I asked the question, has anyone noticed a change in their sleep patterns? Rob, you thought I was giving away free money the way people replied to that. It lit up like an old switchboard, and people started commenting. Yes, my patterns have changed. I can't sleep anymore. I'm waking up in the morning. I'm falling asleep in the morning and awake at night. And I've noticed this myself since I've been back off the grid, and I was blaming it on the cell phone tower. Sure. You know, and so now I'm getting all this response, and it's not just from any one area; it's from all around the planet. So I asked a second question, and that was, has anyone found themselves in more stressful situations in the last 72 hours? The response for that wasn't quite as spectacular as the sleep pattern response, but it was still interesting. I had well over 175 people respond, most of saying, yes, what's going on?
do we have any idea whatsoever of what's going on?
Well, here's what affects the Schumann resonance. Okay. Lightning storms and the sun. Lightning storms, and it's been measured that when we have severe lightning storms, that it does raise the vibration of the Earth, and thunderstorms and lightning storms are directly related to solar spots, to sunspots, solar events. Mm-hmm. So, in order for us to get one, we have to have the other. So, if that is known to increase the Schumann resonance of Earth, and it's an interesting thing. What scientists have found is that during, when it would fluctuate and go up, hospital emergency rooms became a lot more active with people having both physical and mental breakdowns during high peaks of the Schumann resonance. But now the whole thing has, before it was fluctuating back and forth through alpha. It's been fluctuating through alpha for a while. But historically, it's always been in the theta mode. So, when our brains are in theta, we're sleeping. What a unique thing. Our brains were vibrating at the same vibration of Earth. And we would get nice, restful, deep sleep. You sleep for 6, 7, 8 hours, whatever your body required, 9, 10. But, and you'd wake up refreshed. Mm-hmm. Now people are waking up like they've been beaten up all night, if they can sleep at night at all. Now, what's causing the sun to increase the Schumann resonance here on Earth. Something has to be screwing around with the sun.
Yeah.
We see crazy weather, and you can't blame it all on devices like HAARP or chemtrailing, because what they're doing is what the chemtrails are doing is reflecting sunlight. And so why are they chemtrailing to reflect the sunlight? And so some people are saying, oh, it's that they're chemtrailing to hide Naboo or Planet X. No, it's still too far away. You can't see it. At least not during the day anyway. Maybe, possibly, you see those two suns in the morning on sunrise. But you got to be in the right place at the right time to see that. And most people that put pictures up of a double sunrise or two suns, those are questionable because there's always clouds in those pictures, and clouds, or actually water, will transmit light. Mm-hmm. So it could appear that the sun is in two spots at the same time just because of how cloud formations happen.
An optical
I'm not
illusion.
saying that it's not out there, mm-hmm. but that's the best explanation when you have clouds in the picture.
Right. So
you had a question?
Yeah, I was just going to say it's like... oh my gosh, it slipped my mind. We were talking about the photographs, and it could be an optical illusion that's caught on camera.
Some of them actually aren't. Some of them have been vetted out as having hot spots, mm-hmm. Which would indicate that something is actually there reflecting light. There's a heat source there. But most of them are light reflections from with clouds in them. However, I have seen some photographs of, what would appear to be a sun and something else next mm-hmm. to it. But here's the thing, Rob. All these photographs always have Naboo around the sun. If we're orbiting around the sun, how is this thing always by the sun?
Good point.
A little odd. Yeah, a little odd, isn't it? However, there's also something else that's going on. Have you noticed the moon? You notice the way that it waxes and wanes?
Yes.
It waxes and wanes from different directions. It never used to do that. You know why it does it now?
Something is pulling it?
The Earth has picked up a wobble. We know that magma, or the core of Earth, is iron, mm-hmm. or so we are told. And iron is the most common element or mineral found on this planet. And it's the gravitational. Now, Naboo or Planet X is supposed to be like going over the top of us and then down underneath us. Once it circles the sun, nobody knows where it is. I would question anybody who said, "Oh, Naboo is here," or Naboo or Planet X, whatever you want to call it, mm-hmm. is one place or the other. Because the people who have the scientific equipment to measure this thing aren't talking. So everybody else is either an amateur astronomer taking their best guess, mm-hmm. or it's disinformation that we're getting. I heard a piece of disinformation yesterday that said Naboo was going to be here tomorrow. Really? Mm-hmm. Okay. Wait a minute. I don't see any ocean levels rising. I'm sure otherwise we'd be seeing news of coastal events. If this thing has got as much mass as they claim it does, it's believed that it would pull the oceans up right out of the beds, causing huge tsunamis, wiping clean the coastlines of every country in the world. I don't see any change reported in the tides, which are governed by our moon.
Yeah.
So how close can it be?
Well, for one thing, if we're depending on CNN to give us any news, the only news they can give is anything to bash the president, so we have to strike CNN off. But food for thought. Stand by, Peter. You and I have to take our break. We'll be back on the other side. And Exonation, if you'd like to contact Peter, his website is peterkling.com. And we're also going to be talking to Peter about Letters to Earth. The future is yours. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X Zone Broadcast Network and the Wi-Fi Broadcast Network. If you'd like to send an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, and to see all the other fine programming we have on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit www.xzbn.net, where you can listen to our fine programming 7/24/365 via computer, on radio, satellite, or even on your telephone. We'll be back. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A soul balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world.
Exonation, Peter Kling is our guest, www.peterkling.com. And Peter, why do you think the information about planet Nibiru or Planet X, if it truly is out there, is being suppressed? And by who?
Rob, we need an extra hour to get into that one, but I'll cover it real quickly. How are you going to turn around and save 7 billion people? You can't. So who do you decide who gets to go into the underground bunkers? The biggest problem is not that. The biggest problem that we're going to face is we stand a real good chance of getting an EMP from this thing, which will knock out the lights. Mm-hmm. It'll take down the electric grid around the world.
You won't be able to use your cell phones. There'll be no navigational satellites, and the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah. The government did a study around 2011, I think it was, that to see what would in the study they wanted to know what would happen if the grid went down.
Right.
And the study said that if the grid went down for 2 years, 90% of the population of the United States would be dead. Just that simple. And then it seems like there's upgraded information which said it wouldn't take 2 years. That could very well happen in a year. But think about this. All our food is produced. It's all manufactured. So guess what happens when the manufacturing companies don't have any electricity to manufacture our food?
Mass starvation.
No food.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you want to talk about real chaos. That's pretty much what we're facing. But Nibiru is directly tied in with the paradigm change and the judgment of this satanic system of evil. And there's only one way that the satanic rebellion can win. And that is if all that are left on this planet are their minions, are people who are Satanists. And so those are the ones who are granted access to those deep underground military bases or those underground cities that exist. Those who aren't a Satanist, who don't involve themselves with child trafficking and child sacrifice, will be left on the surface. And they'll be wiped out. So all the Christians, all the Muslims, all of the Jews, anybody who worships a god other than the Dark Lord himself is tagged to be destroyed. And that's the only way that the Satanic Rebellion can win. However, the Satanic Rebellion is outnumbered 2-1 against the mightiest force in the multiverse. It's interesting when you read how it's actually worded. The forces of the extent of the universe are collected together to fight the Satanic Rebellion. And so now that we know that a multiverse exists and we're dealing with interdimensionals, we'll go into, we're going to have one hell of an alien war right here on planet Earth. Because this is essentially Earth has become the Alamo for the rebellion. And they've slated us for execution, well, actually for extinction. So we have to be prepared for this. And now this might sound outrageous, this may sound bizarre, but look at the situations that are going on in the world, which we don't have to be called conspiracy theorists for anymore. And, if we're not prepared for the electric grid going down, and I'm not saying, this is Armageddon, this is the end of the world, I'm not saying any of that. It is the paradigm change, and yes, Armageddon is God's war to get rid of the Satanic Rebellion. And this is where we have to decide which side we're going to be on. This is where the spiritual person, and boy, I'll tell you what, I wish everybody had a near-death experience, because then they could totally relate to this. We find out that our soul is our conscious life force which keeps our body alive. When our body dies, our conscious life force goes on. We then become truly interdimensionals. So we are interdimensionals put into physical bodies, and we were supposed to be enjoying a fantastic life on this planet, living in a Garden of Eden, being at peace and harmony with the planet itself. And what ended that? The Reptilian Rebellion. From Genesis, it starts off with the serpent, which is a reptile, and in Revelation, it ends with the great dragon, also a reptile. And what do people say we have here on this planet? Reptilians. If the shoe fits, wear it.
But how come Peter?
You go from Genesis to Revelation. It's all alien involvement in the human race.
But Peter, how come there's no evidence of it?
I was just going to say this. Look at the Anunnaki texts. look at, they show DNA with alien figures, and here's the interesting thing, Rob. All religion and government, for that matter, can be traced right back to ancient Samaria. Right back to ancient Samaria. The Sumerian Empire started with Nimrod, who was the great-grandson of Noah. Mm-hmm. And there's very little spoken about in Genesis about Nimrod, 2 sentences long. That's about the end of it. Right. But the historical record is unbelievable. Go do the research on the historical record of Nimrod and Samaria, and wow, you want to talk about oppressed people.
But no disrespect, Peter. No disrespect. There are books out there where a cat in the hat can talk. There are books out there, Mother Goose, and so on. So how can we take any of these ancient texts seriously?
Because they're chiseled in stone?
Well, yeah, that's because they didn't have paper back then.
They didn't have paper back then? How can we take them seriously? The people at that time took them seriously enough to build massive monuments.
Well, that's because the people of those times didn't have our scientific knowledge. They weren't as smart as we are today. They didn't have computers. They didn't know anything about quantum physics.
Whoa. Hold on there, Rob. Hold on there. Okay. I'm going to disagree with you here politely.
Right.
Sure. Several years ago, a company I was working for hired this gal. Mm-hmm. Wonderful gal. She was a great worker, great personality. She had her Bachelor of Arts degree, so she went to college for 4 years. Mm-hmm. This poor thing couldn't answer questions that I learned in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. How the heck did she get through college without being able to, without knowledge that I was taught back in grade school? Okay. So people aren't smarter. People have gotten dumbed down.
I agree, Peter. I agree, and I think one of the biggest tools that dumb people down are iPhones, handheld devices, the internet. Because
I agree.
We have a thirst now for knowledge to be instantaneous. Nobody wants to take the time to read a book anymore. Well, not very many people do, I should say. Nobody wants to slow down and smell the roses because everything has to be instantaneous. And I think
I want it now.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's and now here this goes right along with the Schumann resonance, increasing from that nice calm state that we were for what seemed to be forever,
right,
to a spot where we're in a reactionary state where we want it now. We want instant response to our questions.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm doing research, especially if I go to a YouTube video, which, you have limited knowledge there for the most part, but if I hear falsehoods coming off that video, as soon as I hear the first untruth, okay, that's the end of this one. Let's go back to trying to find some real hard evidence and stop listening to people's opinions. Mm-hmm. I try to base everything that I say in science or be able to back it up with science.
Yeah, but Peter, that's you. That's you. That's Peter Kling. You're not part of the. You're not part of the 95% of the yahoos who believe that just because they can buy a PhD actually makes them smart.
And that's part of the problem, Rob, is that we've lost that organic intelligence. Yeah. We've given the organic intelligence up for artificial intelligence, and we've turned our lives over to artificial intelligence. How many people now? Let's go back 100 years.
Okay.
People 100 years ago were mostly did their own farming.
Yep.
If they weren't farmers, they grew their own food. And now, did they just grow their own food for the week? No, they grew their own food for the next year and made sure that they had enough in case they had to go into the year after that.
Right.
You canned everything that you grew.
Mm-hmm.
Put it away for storage. I bet you can go down and to walk into any apartment in New York City, any high-rise apartment on the Upper East Side, and you look in their refrigerator, and I bet you that it ain't even half full. I bet you go into their cupboards, and there's no groceries there.
Because it's on.
And these are the same people, because they can go right down the elevator, walk across the street, and go to their bodega there and buy whatever they want and go right back up the elevator.
Exactly.
Well, guess what happens when the electric goes out? They're going to have to walk down the stairs and pray that the bodega still has some food left.
I'm going, years ago, we were living on Tivoli, so that's about 11 years ago when they had that solar flare that wiped out the electrical grid in eastern Canada and northeastern United States.
I remember that well.
We were without power for 7 days. Okay? People who were so used to their electronic gizmos, they were going nuts. It was like a heroin withdrawal.
Absolutely.
And that was only 7 days. What's going to happen if there is a massive solar flare where there is a massive electromagnetic pulse that wipes out the grid as well as the electronics, the navigational systems, the engines, so on and so forth? What's going to happen?
Oh, Rob, that's just conspiracy talk. That'll never happen. Like it never happened in 1857, or was it 1858, where it melted telegraph wires?
Yeah, that's right. That's not conspiracy. That's fact.
Yeah, and there was no Nibiru event back at that time.
No.
And, I've had people. I did a radio show earlier today out of Vancouver, and the show consisted of questions that people had asked, after the show was posted. And one of the questions that came up was, "Oh, Nibiru's just a myth; it doesn't really exist." So forth. Let me tell you something, Rob. Scientists are the biggest skeptics on the planet. And when I first heard about Nibiru, I said, "Oh, what a crock of crap." Yeah. I even went and started investigating Stitching, and I was like, okay, there's people that say that Stitching was wrong in the way that he translated the scriptures. And I went to the word Nibiru myself and looked for the definition of Nibiru, and it means crossing. Now, when I was doing this work, the only thing that I understood that we were really going to be crossing was the galactic plane in our 26,000-year progression of the equinoxes. No, that's pretty much fact. We're going to we're crossing the plane of the galaxy, and it doesn't just happen literally overnight. So I'm thinking, this sounds more realistic than having some star come in out of nowhere, or some planet X come from nowhere and screw Earth up. But I also went and checked the biblical prophecies, and there's several biblical prophecies that deal. Revelation is the most interesting. I believe I've quoted this on your show before. Revelation is the opening of the sixth seal. It says it starts over the great earthquake, and then it says that the sun becomes dark as sackcloth made of hair, and the moon becomes blood red, and the stars fall from heaven as when a great wind blows unripe figs off of a fig tree. And the island groups, then it says the heavens themselves will be removed like a scroll. It will be rolled up like a scroll. So we're not going to be able to see the stars there. They're just going to disappear from one side to the other. And it says the island groups and the mountains themselves will be removed. And then it goes on to say that the kings of the earth, the military commanders, the rich ones, they will all seek shelter. They will call out to the rock masses and mountains to hide them. But who can escape the great and illustrious day of the Lamb and the judgment of the Lamb and the one seated upon the throne?
Stand by, Peter. We've got to take our break. Sure. We'll be back on the other side of
this
break.
Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? I'm Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and on The Secret to Everything, we will merge the practical with open investigation into all realms of the mysterious. We will talk to cutting-edge alternative health practitioners, those who inspire and motivate you in business and life, and of course, we will share stories of the paranormal, conspiracy, and cryptozoology. You will transform because of the frequency I carry, the frequencies my guests carry. Life may never be the same after you listen to this program, for the secret to everything is for you, the listener, for those who desire more in every area of their lives and believe that it can still be found. Listen and discover thesecrettoeverything.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Exonation, Peter Kling is our special guest, and we're talking about Planet Nibiru. We're talking about, we've talked about the Schumann resonance. And Peter, you were talking about Zecharia Sitchin, and he was in my books, he was a great man, and he brought a lot of knowledge and information forth that so many of us would not have known without his work. So but let me ask you this, Peter. How can we take everything verbatim? Because a lot of the biblical scholars will tell us is metaphoric and not factual.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Your biblical scholars were taught by who? The religious experts. You see, I had the benefit of not having religious contamination in my biblical education. And then I didn't just stick with the Bible. I looked to science to answer the questions. Right. That's how we get genetic engineering out of Genesis 2:21 through 23. That's a record of genetic engineering. So who are the genetic engineers? But to answer your question, the best answer is track record. The track record of the scriptures which have already been fulfilled. Here's something else, and I'll just touch on this real quickly. Sure. I was a skeptic with chemtrails. I was like, what, are you kidding me? Chemtrails, they're vapor trails. And people saying, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, so forth. I was like, okay, let me prove these people wrong. So I went online, and I found a formula for jet fuel. And as I'm reading down the formula for jet fuel, I come across barium. I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. Why is there barium in jet fuel? Now, this is the fuel that's put into – this isn't any special chemtrail sprayer. This is just a fuel that goes into every jet that's flying around the planet today.
Yeah.
So why are they putting barium into the fuel? Barium is a solid. It's a metal.
And what did you
find?
Highly
reflective metal.
And what was the answer to your question? Why do they put barium into jet fuel?
Well, the only reasonable explanation would be to blow it out the back of the engine and use it to reflect light. Barium is used in gastroenterology a lot of times for X-rays. Mm-hmm. So that barium is reflecting X-rays that very nicely. So and what do we get from the sun? Well, among other things, we get a lot of different rays, including X-rays. Mm-hmm. And aluminum, highly reflective. That they're pumping that into it as well, but it's not part of the jet fuel. But the barium is. And when I saw barium, it was like, okay, there's no reasonable explanation to have barium in jet fuel, in my humble opinion. And I studied chemistry. It's not like they used to put lead into gasoline,
yep.
methyl ethyl lead into gasoline to get higher octane and mm-hmm. to stop that pinging noise.
Yep.
So. A jet doesn't work like a combustion engine. It's a turbine. You can run anything through a turbine as long as you don't run a big goose through it. That'll bring down a plane. But why are they spraying? Why is this part of the formula? Now, at any given time across the United States during peak travel hours, there's 5,000 jets in the air. Mm-hmm. Off hours is about 3,000. Mostly freighters running cargo back and forth between the East Coast and the West Coast.
Right.
They're all spraying out barium. And then we have to look at what's coming out of some of these jets that are going by, and they're not natural. It's not a vapor trail. They're blowing out stuff that doesn't evaporate. It just lingers and lingers and lingers. So we have to look deeper and keep an open mind. And that's the same thing I did with Nibiru. When I came across these scriptures that were saying the sun was going to be dark and the moon was going to be turned to blood, mm-hmm. and then you go back to the Exodus where the sun was turned to dark. It was dark for 3 days. It's like, okay, wait a minute. What could possibly be causing these things? Is there really a planet X?
Or is it metaphoric speaking from the Bible?
Well, when I see what's going on around the planet, mm-hmm. I have to start questioning it. What's raising the Schumann resonance? Why does the sun burn? Even with the chemtrails that they're spraying, you go. It was 2 years ago. It was April. I went outside. Now I live in the Northeast of the United States, mm-hmm. and I was in. I had a long sleeve shirt, but it was a lightweight shirt, and I could feel the sun burning my skin right through the shirt. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm feeling a bite from the sun in April.
But
I said, if I was in Florida, I would expect this. But here in the Northeast,
But Peter, you're a scientist.
To happen?
You're a scientist. And before making any assumption as to what, the chemtrails, Nibiru, doesn't a scientist establish the facts before he makes the conclusion?
Well, you establish all the information that you can and formulate a theory.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. When it comes to the chemtrails, did you said you went online and you couldn't find any reason why barium was in the jet fuel. But did you call up an airline manufacturer and say, listen, I've read somewhere where barium is put into the jet fuel. Can you tell me why?
I did not. See, when there was no logical reason to put barium into jet fuel.
But maybe there is a logical reason.
Hold on. This was just the tip of the iceberg. This didn't change my whole opinion. This was just the tip of the iceberg. What I did next was, then you start to gather up as much information as you can, and there's not a whole lot on chemtrails that's verifiable. So what does a scientist do? The next step is observation. So now you have to observe the aircraft flying in the sky. And now you have to question also, why do some aircraft have no chemtrails? Why do some aircraft have vapor trails that are spraying out only a short distance behind the plane?
Well, I just did a fast internet search, and barium or aluminum oxides could be sprayed from the jet in the form of STADIS 450. It's a static dissipator, fuel additive. So it cuts down on the static.
What's static?
Jet engines create static. There is static when a jet flies through the air. It creates static.
Yeah, as it's flying, as those engines are rotating.
Right.
Yes, you will have, just because of the rotation, they're going to develop their own gyroscopic action, and because they're interacting with other metal parts, they will build up static. But wait a minute, you're going to put more metal to reduce the static? Why does that sound illogical?
Well, for one thing, Peter, it needs further research before we can start saying that there's a conspiracy that they're putting barium.
I never said there was a conspiracy, but here's the thing, Rob. When I'm watching, now here was the great thing. When we were off grid, it was so quiet up there that you could hear the jets flying at 35,000, 40,000 feet. Yeah. No problem. You look up. Not anything coming out from behind them. You can spot the jet and not even a vapor trail coming out from behind these jets. And then all of a sudden you hear a jet and you look up and there's a vapor trail that goes from the jet all the way right to the horizon. And the jet disappears, the vapor trail remains, and then that vapor trail starts to increase in volume. Wait a minute. Why is it increasing in volume? Why isn't it just dissipating and evaporating? Because at that altitude, it's extremely dry. And so that what turns to water vapor is going to evaporate. But this stuff isn't evaporating. It's collecting more water vapor and getting larger and larger and larger. So now I have to question, what's the difference between Jet A and Jet B? And what is Jet B spewing out the back of it, which isn't evaporating? So that I have to raise questions.
Okay, all
right. Observational.
This is from Boeing. Okay, barium and aluminum fumes are simply byproducts of the reaction of dumping coal fly ash particles in the atmosphere, reacting with oxygen to form oxide. These chemicals are not blindly mixed with the jet fuel. It's foolish and absurd to think the delivery mechanism, now why I'm reading so hard is because I'm reading a computer across the room, would involve burning them. So there you go, a simple explanation.
Well, now here's a German, boy, I wish I could quote this German scientist verbatim, but he actually started doing research into chemtrails. And it wasn't necessarily what they were spraying out that started the research. It was what was landing on the ground. Where the research was started was farmers in Germany were noticing some of their a good significant portion of the crops that they had planted stopped growing and then died. And they wanted to know why. So they started harvesting these plants, collecting these plants, and started doing it. And this guy was excellent. I forget his name, but there is a YouTube video, and he explains the whole thing. It's about 2 hours long, and he goes level by level on what they have found, and he explains the whole process. And what is actually happening is that any of the metals that are injected into these engines or into the exhaust of the engines, they go into the fourth state, the state of plasma. And when they when they come out of the state of plasma, instead of going into a metal flake or a metal particle or a metal molecule, they turn into metal crystals. They go into a crystalline state. When those crystals fall on the ground, they're absorbed by the plants, and what they found is those crystals absorb the sunlight, which then, instead of triggering photosynthesis so the plant can grow, it absorbs that sunlight and cuts off the photosynthetic process, which feeds the plant, and the plant withers and dies. He goes on further with other findings that they have, but we're going to be running out of time.
We have just
it's
run
a 2 hour
out of time.
YouTube video.
All right,
but
Peter, I want to
to
thank you so much for joining us. Unfortunately, we're out of time for tonight, my friend. Take care of yourself, and be careful out there, Pete, because there's a lot of strange things going on, and we need Peter Kling. And Exonation, if you'd like to find out more about Peter Kling, visit www.peterkling.com. I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.